I will have you raise a cheer for the Reverend and Messiah, Black and White Knight. From County Ballalama, you will have the honor of cheering for the football champion of His Grace the Count, Dr. Raoul II. My friends, my neighbors, I will have you raise a lusty cheer for the champion, red and yellow, nay! Cheer for the victorious Red Knight! We do welcome you, my lord. Wish you continued success here this evening. Now, from that vile cesspool of Estonia! Those of you who would cheer in your weak and paltry voice. Nonetheless, now my lords and ladies, here you have them. 6 knights brave and strong. Raise a cheer for your champion! And now, my lords and ladies, it is my pleasure to summon to this arena our company. I am honored to summon to the arena the loyal retainers, the handsome serfs, and the beautiful wenches of His Majesty the King. And I would tell you, they are the finest of all the land. They will be led by our knights in training, the noble squires of the realm, and each of them holds high the banner of your pavilion. Retainers, forward! To one man and one man alone. He is Lord and Master. He is Conqueror. He is Don Alfonso the Magnificent, your host, noble herald trumpeter. cheer for the the small city of Colorado, the winner of many tournaments, Hoffman, Santa Creu, the victorious Red Knight. From powerful Navajo, I present to you the warrior brief, Ruiz Perón de Roche, the black and white knight. From Fair Leon, I present to you the captain of the Leonese Guard. He is the courageous Yellow Knight.
蜘蛛人啊，
对啊，为了版权，为了做电动的。
您在这边照照相，或者呢去洗手间，洗手间在那边有个红色的牌子，我这个牌呀，等一下回来这边集合，团体的入口在这边，我先去换票。我站在这里坐。
One of the reasons we build a bridge in this area is because the shrubbery in back of it gives the impression that it's in a very remote location. Plants and shrubs and trees and flowers. We also have the soapbox derby cars from the Little Rascal. Hey, there's Mr. T's van from the A-Team. And several cars from Back to the Future. The Jeep from Jurassic Park. And the telephone that Lily Tomlin used in The Incredible Shrinking Woman. So from the future, we're taking you way way back into the prehistoric past as we enter the town of Bedrock. This is the home of Betty and Barney Rubble, played by Rosie O'Donnell and John Goodman in that movie, and many of the vehicles that were used back in Bedrock. From the distant future, now we're going to take you into the distant past. On both sides of the tram, you will see vehicles used in the Kevin Costner film Waterworld, which also starred Mr. Dennis Hopper. And now we're descending down the long and winding road. You know what, folks? We covered this road with dirt, marched 2,000 soldiers down it, and transformed it into the Appian Way with a Stanley Kubrick classic film Yes, folks, this is exactly how we would create a scene for outdoor rain filming. The rain is created by sprinklers in the tops of the trees, and the flash flood is created by us recycling thousands of gallons of water, which we dump from tanks stored at the top of that hill. This effect was used in the popular movie The River, which starred Mel Gibson and Sissy Spacek. Chevy Chase also starred in Fletch Lives, and we placed a Noah's Ark right here next to the bridge with a sign that said flash flood every 10 minutes. Chevy Chase Fields and Mae West. The street we're now entering, ladies and gentlemen, is the very featured in the film Always, starring Holly Hunter and Mr. Richard Dreyfuss. The body of water that we're now approaching on my side of the tram, believe it or not, was used as the entire Pacific Ocean for the television series McHale's Navy. We also used it in the movie remake that we did last year, starring Mr. Tom Arnold. This lake has also been used in the 1950s horror film, The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Coming into view on my side of the tram, you've got a great glimpse at good old PT number 73. This was the home of McHale's Navy. I'm told that some of our special effects guys are out here today testing out a few things. Sorry. Oh, duck and cover. You know what? Filmmakers have always been challenged. How do we shoot a decent underwater scene that doesn't involve a lot of expensive equipment and a lot of unnecessary cost? So the way that we get around it, on the driver's side of the tram, you'll see that we have our own underwater tank. We put the actors inside, and the directors and the cameraman shoot through the window, and they get to stay nice and dry their time. So these are several props that have been used in some of your favorite TVs and movies shows. The big silver capsule you can see comes from Sequest DSV. On the driver's side of the tram, there are a number of boats that were used in the old McHale's Navy series. And then very cleverly, they were painted different colors on different sides. So on one side, it would be the good guys' boats, and the other side, it would be the bad guys' boats. Nothing goes to waste in Hollywood. We're nothing if not creative. Woo! Those special effects guys are on it today. We're now approaching a very memorable area called the Red Sea. Ladies and gentlemen, you probably remember the famous film with Charlton Heston where he stood on a cliff, raised his staff, and commanded the waters to part. Well, here's how we do it at Universal. We all count 3, and then we shout, "Part the waters." So let's have a go. 1, 2, 3. Part the waters! Ladies and gentlemen, before we cross the Red Sea, pick up any valuables you got on the floor because we don't want them to get wet. There were 2 versions of the Red Sea. There was the 1923 Cecil B. DeMille version, and there was a 1956 version starring Mr. Charlton Heston. Oh, here we go. Get those cameras out because it's an opportunity to get a great sea level picture. You survived the Red Sea. Well done. The area we're now driving through was used in Gilligan's Island, the popular TV movie series. The area was given a tropical feel from our prop department. On the driver's side, the large modern building featuring Spartacus Square at the present time. And these were the very steps that Lord Laurence Olivier stood on addressing the Roman soldiers before he sent them off to do battle on that popular Stanley Kubrick film. The building on my side of the tram is our embassy's building. By changing the flags outside, we can convert this into the embassy of almost any European country that we need it to be. Directing your attention to the driver's side of the tram. This entire area was built for the 1929 Academy Award-winning Best Picture. All was where Dr. Frankenstein's monster made his first appearance to the townspeople. There's a story about Mr. Bela Lugosi, who was a very popular actor here. Oh, whoa. You know, for those of you who are out of town, this is just one of our California tremors. Don't worry. Whoa. Whoa. Folks, be sure you keep your seats and hit those cameras up off the floor. Now look out behind you. Look behind you. That's the worst of it over. I'm sorry. Oh, no, I don't believe it. That's the take. Hey, you have just played a fortune out here. He should know better. I tell him every day not to fish on this lake because it's not safe. But does he listen to me? Does he act? Hey, George. George. Hey, man, George, look behind you, man. You're in trouble. Uh-oh. What about you folks? I think it's lunchtime. Folks, we have been trying to catch this shark, so we attached some bait to that yellow buoy out there with the hopes that the shark might take it and we can catch it. Hey, looks like he's taking the bait. He's taking the gear. Oh, Roberto, get us out of here. Come on, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, give yourself a hand. You just survived George. If you look at the boat in the corner of the lake, that boat was featured in a very memorable scene from Jaws, where Richard Dreyfuss went underwater looking for the missing fisherman, and the fisherman's head helped out a very successful career on the musical stage. She won 4 Tony Awards on Broadway. She created practical set. It's practical because we can film both inside and outside. The backyard of the Chicken Ranch doubled as Jessica Fletcher's backyard in the series Murder, She Wrote. On the driver's side, we're turning into an area called Colonial Street. And all along this street, many of your favorite movie and TV characters have lived. The sorority house on the corner, on the driver's side, was featured in Animal House. Right next door, Jimmy Stewart lived with his invisible pet rabbit, Harvey. And 1313 Mockingbird Lane was the home of the Munsters. A more wholesome family lived next door to them, the Hardy Boys, and Lassie has also lived in this house. Doris Day and James Garner occupied this house in the thrill of it all. In fact, Doris Day has made so many movies, it's said that she's lived on almost every house on this street with a different husband. The area of the back lot we're entering now is called Anytown, USA. On my side of the tram, you'll notice that we can change the signs outside these facades to have them represent many different areas of small-town America. The mansion was used in Uncle Tom's Cabin, as well as serving as the insane asylum in the 50s film Harvey, starring Jimmy Stewart. On the driver's side of the tram, many of the houses that you'll now see were featured in the popular movie The Birds, starring Tom Hanks. And the most popular family in America lived right next door to the Birds, and that family's name is the Cleavers, featured in Leave It to Beaver, the movie remake that we did last year. This area will be featured in an upcoming DreamWorks production called Deep Impact, starring Robert Duvall and Morgan Freeman as the President of the United States. Didn't know that she lived on the same street as Harvey Boys. Here's her house on the driver's side. Next door to Andy Griffith's home in Napa. And the house at the end of the street was featured in The House of the Seven Gables, starring Mr. Vincent Price. Vincent Price made his first horror movie in 1939. It was called The Tower of London, and he vowed that it would be his first and last horror film. But of course we know, history proved Mr. Price delightfully wrong. The road that we're now traveling on has been featured in a classic film by Alfred Hitchcock. In fact, Janet Leigh's character drove up this road on a dark and windy night, looking for a blessed, as they say, as history. As we approach the house, we are now traveling up what we call the Psycho Path. The Psycho House, which we're approaching, is what we call a shell, meaning it's an empty structure that we use just for filming on the outside. Alfred Hitchcock always generated a lot of controversy with his movie audiences, and never more so for the filming of Psycho. He absolutely insisted that no one be admitted to this movie after it started, because the star of the movie was killed in the first third of the film. Psycho was a big movie, but speaking of big movies, on the driver's side, this is the biggest of them all. Of the sets used in the filming of The Lost World. These very sets and this very location was where much of that film was actually shot. On the driver's side, you can see the workers area where the NGen scientists did the experiments in genetic engineering of the dinosaurs. Also on the driver's side are many of the vehicles featured in that popular film, including the mobile laboratory where Jeff Goldblum was chased by the Tyrannosaurus. If you look over your shoulders, many adventure movies here at Universal, including the upcoming release Godzilla, filmed by TriStar Pictures, being released this summer, starring Matthew Broderick. On the driver's side of the tram, up in the hill in the distance, is where we film Home and Family every day right here on the lot at Universal. On my side of the tram, the large log cabin was featured in The Great Outdoors, starring John Candy. Let me tell you a little bit also more about the lake. The lake back there was the splashdown site in Apollo 13. It's where the mission control splashed down at the end of their mission. Also, Jim Carrey has starred on our lake here in The Truman Show by Paramount Pictures, and Pierce Brosnan filmed many scenes from Dante's Peak right here on this location. Speaking of which, we're heading up Dante's Peak right now. We have a seismologist camp over here on the left, but not to worry. This volcano is dormant. But we keep these seismologists out here anyway taking readings, just so we don't, get into any sort of unexpected trouble. Roberto, they're normally here, but I don't see them anywhere today. Where are they? I don't know where they are either. They must be on a break or something. Anyway, I think a good idea would be for us to head to this old mine shaft so we can bypass any volcanic activity. Okay, great. You know what? this lava flow doesn't look like a very good idea. Roberta, I don't think we should go in here. After all, I don't like the look of that lava. Oh, I don't believe it. Folks, I'm sorry, I got bad news for you because we are heading straight into the middle of a lava flow. Tell you what, folks, if you get dizzy in here, just close your eyes. Believe it or not, your tram actually stayed level the whole time we were in that tunnel. This view, when he first started his adventures here on Earth. In fact, folks, at the foot of those hills is the very neighborhood that Elliot, the little boy in E.T., where he used to live. If your appetite is stirring, ladies and gentlemen, you'll want to pay a visit to our newest restaurant here at Universal called Marvel.
我刚刚没有照。
Brave explorers voyage in search of the legend of Dryland, the last remaining but the Deacon, maniacal leader of a group of evil raiders called Smokers, is determined to find dry land first. He's ensured that no explorer has ever returned until now.